Miss Transformers96 here with an end of the year video. This time I'm going to be ranking each Build-A-Figure that was released in a Marvel Legends line from this year, would be in 2016. So I think that from now on I'm going to do 2 Build-A-Figure videos a year. One where I'm going to rank all the Build-A-Figures, comparing them to each other from when Hasbro relaunched the Return of Marvel Legends in 2012 up until the present. And then I'm also going to do one video at the very end of the year where I'm going to rank just that year's Build-A-Figures. So this, of course, is going to be 2016 year's Build-A-Figures that I'm going to rank. These are my personal opinions. I'm not saying that these are necessarily the order of best to worst. I'm saying that this is an order of my favorite to my least favorite. So take that into account. As well as, of course, you do see Sandman there at the bottom. I have not completed him. He is a Build-A-Figure of 2017, of 2016. However, I'm not including him in this because I haven't completed him, and I don't plan to complete him until the beginning of 2017, because I'm hoping to get some of the figures on a bit of a discount, considering the Abomination and Dormammu waves have dropped so far in price. I think that I can kind of snag them at a good price in a month or so. So there you go. I'm very excited for that Sandman Build-A-Figure, though. Really excited for him. But let's start off the ranking here. As you can see, we did get 7 Build-A-Figures. If you count Sandman, that's 8 Build-A-Figures this year, which is quite a high amount. I think that is more Build-A-Figures than last year, if I'm not mistaken. So let's count them down, starting off with number 7. Last place goes to Space Knight Venom. This figure, really nothing too special. It's not horrible by any means, but it is just not good for a Build-A-Figure. I expect more from it. The character-wise, I think it's nice. He's not quite big. He's relatively small, and there's not much going on here. It's very plain legs, plain arms. I like the hands. Those are quite nice. The face is pretty plain. I mean, it matches the comics, but it is relatively plain. And just as a figure in general, it's really quite plain. No unique articulation points. He's not very big and just nothing super special. So I do like the character. Having Venom for some Guardians of the Galaxy pictures is very cool, but the figure itself is quite plain, even though the character himself is plain as well. This is a nice representation of that, but for a Build-A-Figure, I do expect more. 6th place goes to Onslaught. I know a lot of people really like this Build-A-Figure. For me personally, I couldn't really get behind this figure totally. I think that it's decent. I mean, it's nicely executed, although I feel like the paint is lacking a bit of depth. Even though I do like purple, the purple and red seems like an odd combination to me. Obviously, this is accurate to the comics, but still, I'm not too fond of it. And one thing that I absolutely hate about this Build-A-Figure is the fact that we didn't get the proper head for it for months until after this wave was released. I think that was a completely terrible idea, and it made the figure so much less special when I got it that, you know, by the time I got the right head for it, I mean, it was nice, but by then, this figure seems old, you know? So really don't like the way that they released this, and the figure itself I don't think is too special. Especially that little back, like, shell piece sticks way too far off of his back for me, too. And not to mention you had to buy 7 figures to build him, so just all of that together, creates something that's pretty lackluster, I would say. At 5th place, we have Giant Man from the Civil War movie. I'm very happy that they chose to do Giant Man as the Build-A-Figure. I think that's great, but I just don't think the figure's executed very well. I think his hands are quite big. I think his head is really big. I think that the shoulders aren't big enough, and therefore they leave a gap, especially if you look at it from the side. I absolutely hate the way that if his feet are forward facing you, his knees are then pointed in. And if you have his knees forward facing you, his feet are then pointed out. I think that this figure, from a technical standpoint, is really lacking. I think that it is probably the Hasbro's weakest effort at a big Build-A-Figure this year. The only reason that I have it a bit above the others is because it's quite tall, and you only need to buy 6 figures to build him, which is nice, like as compared to like Onslaught, which is smaller, but you needed to buy 7 Build-A-Figures and 8 if you wanted the proper head. So you know, this figure is decent from that regard, but as far as the way it's executed, very poor, very disappointing, and I wish it was even bigger because obviously it's still not in scale with the other Marvel Legends figures. Absorbing Man takes the 4th spot. I think that this is a pretty nice Build-A-Figure. I do like it. I love the fact that you have different accessories to go with him. That's something that doesn't usually happen with Build-A-Figures, but I do like that, and I think that this character really lends itself to that, having multiple interchangeable parts, so I'm very impressed that we were able to get that, and I do like the fact that you didn't really have to buy any more figures to do that. If you just bought 6 figures, you got the full Build-A-Figure plus 2 extra arms and an extra head, and then if you wanted his weapon, you had to then buy a 7th, but of course that is not 100% necessary. So I do really like that, that he comes with those interchangeable parts. I think that it's quite nice. I do have issues with the paint rubbing off in the joints. I think that is extremely disappointing, but other than that, I do like this Build-A-Figure quite a lot, and the wave that he was in was really great, so this definitely felt like the cherry on top of the wave, which was really nice. So as a whole, I did enjoy this Build-A-Figure quite a bit because it is quite unique. 3rd spot goes to Juggernaut. So this is a really nice Build-A-Figure. Character-wise, it's perfect. We definitely really needed it. Figure-wise, I love the size of the figure. It is the biggest Build-A-Figure of the year, and that is really great, and he looks great. The only issues I have with it is the fact that the paint, I mean, in like the metal sections, he has some great paint work there. It looks wonderful, and then the rest of him, though, it's very plain paint apps. There's not a whole lot of depth going into it, especially with the arms. I would have liked some depth in there. That would have been quite nice. Some of the brown pieces you could keep just regular, but the skin tone, I think that had they added a bit more to it, I think that it would have helped elevate the figure. And you did need to buy 7 figures to build him, so that does justify his price a bit more, or sorry, justify his size a bit more, which would have been nice if you only had to buy 6, but still quite good. Definitely a really nice Build-A-Figure. In 2nd place, we have Dormammu. So this was a Build-A-Figure that I almost considered putting at number 1, just because personally I really enjoyed it. I know a lot of people are going to dislike this one, considering it's just a repaint. However, I'm fortunate enough not to have the original one, so it was a completely new sculpt for me, which is very nice. And I really love the look of the figure. I absolutely love that head sculpt. I think it's fantastic. My favorite color is purple, and the metallic purple on him just looks so cool, very neat, and I love the figure in general. I think it is fantastic. You did need to buy, I believe you had to buy like all 8 figures to build him, didn't you? That is very disappointing because size-wise, he doesn't really qualify for having to build 8 figures. I mean, this guy should have been a 6-figure Build-A-Figure per Build-A-Figure. That would have been really nice, but at 8, it does definitely overstep its bounds. But personally, I still really enjoyed this figure. It has great articulation and a really fantastic, menacing look, which I love. And what I would consider my favorite Build-A-Figure of the year, it has to be Abomination. Now this was a very impressive Build-A-Figure to me. I really did enjoy it. He's definitely not the biggest one, but he is close. I mean, he's much bigger than Absorbing Man, Venom, Dormammu, and then soon to be Sandman, but he's still not the biggest Build-A-Figure. However, he does have a really nice bulk to him, and what I really love about this figure is the sculpt and the paint. The sculpting work is amazing. Throughout the entire thing, there's not a dull piece on him. It's 100% sculpted to perfection, and then the paint on top of that is just another layer of greatness, basically, where you have different mixtures of green, different shades of green throughout it, and in strategic places where it really blends nicely and it's just completely well done. I mean, this is just the perfect representation of sculpt and paint, and that's something that really is lacking in this this year of Build-A-Figures. I feel like a lot of the Build-A-Figures are lacking in paint or they're lacking in sculpt. This one, however, has them both perfectly, which is wonderful. He has great articulation, and he feels like a nice classic Build-A-Figure. I mean, you got one arm with somebody, one leg with somebody, a torso with somebody, you know. He was split up in a traditional manner, and you only needed to buy 6 people to build him. So I just love this Build-A-Figure from a character, execution, and the way that you had to buy him. From all the categories, he just really checks the boxes off for me personally, and I really did enjoy this Abomination Build-A-Figure. Alright, so as a whole, I think this was quite a good year for Build-A-Figures. As you can see, villains definitely dominated, as they usually do with Build-A-Figures, and considering I am a big villains fan, I do very much appreciate that. The movie representations, as far as Build-A-Figures go, was very weak this year. Only Giant Man, and then that Giant Man was a weak figure in general, I would say. So that is a shame. However, with the Vulture Wing Build-A-Figure that's supposed to come out next year, I think that that might be rectified in 2017, which is quite nice. I'm very excited for that Sandman Build-A-Figure. I have a feeling if, without actually having his other parts, just if I had to guess where I would place him this year, I would guess I'd replace him in between Absorbing Man and Juggernaut. I do think that he's going to be much better than Absorbing Man, but I don't quite think that I'd place him above Juggernaut, but I still think that that is going to be a great Build-A-Figure. The two head sculpts that he comes with are incredible. I absolutely love them, so I'm super stoked to build him, and I was very happy to build these Build-A-Figures this year. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought of my ranking. I'd love to hear your ranking, as well as this is just as far as the Build-A-Figures themselves. I'm not ranking them based on their wave whatsoever. However, if you are interested, I might do a ranking the actual waves themselves this year. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to do that, and it's going to be a really kind of a pain to shoot because it's a lot of figures to bring out. But I am considering doing that, so if you have interest in it, let me know. That would help my decision. And yeah, so thanks so much for watching.